Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Taurus. If Taurus is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, let's see. What do these tea leaves have to say tonight? And our card tonight is the Hierophant. This has to do with the mysteries, wanting to find meaning in that thing that is kind of just below the surface. A feeling of there being more than just this mundane physical plane. A kind of hunger and desire for belief, for kind of verification of something other than the normal everyday, as I said. And really coming into a place of being initiated, being awoken, as some people like to say, and receiving, kind of a introduction into those greater mysteries of the universe, of the cosmos. And this can be religious, this can be spiritual, this can be, science. It does not have to be something ambiguous. I mean, this really can be coming to deeper understandings through education, mathematical understandings, physics, whatever, So let's take a look and see what is going on in here. All right. So I have a goose up here, and it looks like it is kind of in an agitated posture. I think that when you get into places where there is, let me start with, I think that you're really good at what you love. You're good at the things that you focus on, you put your efforts into. You're probably very talented at least a couple things. And when these more existential kind of stirrings arise, if there's that dread, anxiety, terror that starts to come up, and these are often things that don't have quick answers, an understanding of life, okay, and also looking for some kind of solid empirical truth, which, again, difficult to find without kind of a journey over time. So we get into this place where we get agitated, we're anxious, we're on edge, snappy, snippy, and I feel like you're in kind of that zone. I think that there is quite a sense of looking for kind of and I'm looking at this here. It looks like this real sense of wanting to have kind of a stable, balanced kind of path, okay? And you know, with all these kind of pieces floating around, I feel that there is anxiety, okay? Just generally there is an uneasiness. I feel that there's a sense of never being like completely full. You are left wanting, okay? And I think when you get into this place where there is such a desire to kind of find a deeper meaning, this is when these kinds of, you know, secrets of life, the mysteries, the questions about, you know, higher powers and unknown things, and you know, looking into philosophy, religion, you know, I don't know, the quantum, you know, and these things, they start to reveal themselves in subtle ways, right? Our minds get reconfigured into really looking for patterns and, you know, things that feel like, oh, that's so, you know, that touches me in a deep place, right? Because we become receptive. And, you know, I think that for at least a little while, there was kind of this turn in popular spiritual circles that we needed to kind of always follow our bliss and be joyful and thankful and, you know, be healed, to be in a place of, you know, receiving and being receptive and being able to make use of the gifts bestowed upon us. But I think that that is usually, you know, I don't know how many people get into that place and can maintain it. I know I can't. I also don't know that I have all the answers, but I do think that this is more about just really finding things, finding systems, finding techniques, finding, you know, whatever kind of speaks to you. What is your flavor of, you know, the divine? What, you know, what are you into? What do you enjoy? What can you stay consistent with? Does that mean going to, you know, mass a couple times a week? Does that mean partaking in plant medicine? Does that mean, you know, being kind of a reconstructionalist? Religion, these kinds of, you know, there are a lot of kind of Greek or Egyptian or Nordic or whatever, these kinds of systems where, you know, these plays are kind of put on, and the dress and the recreating rituals and things. And, you know, maybe that speaks to you. There's all kinds of occultism, all kinds of religion and spiritual. I mean, there's endless. There's so many things. And you can mix and match, you know. Also, I mean, there are the sciences and, you know, different kinds of self-help, psychotherapy, I mean, philosophy, art. There's so many things, you know. I am excited just thinking about it. I mean, I really, you know, there's, it's like a field of beautiful flowers to be picked, okay? And you might get stung a couple times while you're out there, okay? It's not always, what does my husband like to say on his channel? It's not always puppies and rainbows or whatever. But, you know, there are a lot of places to go, a lot of journeys to be traveled. And so, this is it's exciting when we get into this kind of state of unrest, right? You start to feel a little dislodged from the comfort of where you have been. And there's a sense that there's something out there lingering. Some might say it's that kind of ominous terrible. But, you know, I like to think of it as an invitation to get creative about what things might be and what we might have access to. So I see a flower, and this one is beautiful. It looks like almost like a Roman depiction of a poppy, like one of those beautiful frescoes. Okay, and I think, you know, that has everything to do with this kind of not only you know, a blooming, coming into a place of great beauty, but I think that is something that will nourish your nerves and your senses and kind of round them off a little bit, if you know what I'm talking about. But, you know, this is through that kind of mana, the ambrosia of the gods, that nectar, that sweet thing, that beloved, that agape, right? And that is what we find woven into that, all things really, but when we are awake and we are traveling on these spiritual roadways, that is where we kind of find the sustenance, don't we? And let's see, we have, I'm looking at this one, it looks like some kind of beautiful crown, okay? And it really, I'm not, you know, I'm interested in, of course, interested in astrotheology because a lot of, you know, astrology kind of overlaps, but I'm not always super stoked on the kind of heliocentric. But this to me has that kind of solar that solar consciousness, that beautiful gold and glowing, almost like some you know, king of divine right would be wearing something like this. And some kind of what was his, Louis the 14th, 13th, 14th, 12th, 7th, I don't know, whatever the sun god was, right? The sun king, I should say. One of these divine right rulers. They have that little taste of the sun and they wear it. And so really, to me, what this says though is coming into a place of openness, that kind of, you know, crown chakra being wide open, the third eye wide open, receptive of kind of revelation and messaging from wherever it comes from, the, you know, the cosmic, the interior, dreams, visions, patterns, synchronicities. It's all kind of pouring around in your life. And I believe that this is kind of also that key to unlocking some of the blockages. Now, I do think that there is a sense of kind of a jolt of birth happening. You know, I feel this kind of almost feels like the pains before the birth, those tremors. And then you come into kind of that, you know, solar portal, and the blockage is, you know, taken away, ripped away, and there's kind of a spiritual birth happening. Now, this is not, you know, we want things to be neat and tidy. At least I do. I'm a Virgo. I want things to kind of all fit together and make sense. And that's not always the case. I see kind of, it looks like, it reminds me of the sunflower. We have a few of them growing out back. Very tall, and just kind of up here we have some We have a person here. We have a person kind of falling off the edge there. And it looks like we have some kind of heart here. And to me, I really feel like looking at this is kind of a message of the spiritual paths, the spiritual awakenings can be quite messy. They can, not unlike actual birth, right? There's some treachery involved, and you know, things can get a little bit messy, and you must kind of be brutal about getting yourself through. And so we find a way to be, and one of my favorite sayings, to be brutally soft, right? To find a balance in that utter duality, but to also, you know, do what you must, but mind your will, but also mind your virtues. Okay, those things, those kinds of personal, they don't have to be anything that comes down from any organized religion, but we all have our own virtues and tenets of living. They don't have to make sense to anybody else, but they make sense to you. And when we're on a spiritual path, we must abide them as we can, right? And so you check in with those. You check in with yourself. And I think through this is how we kind of find access to that doorway, that thing that we're all kind of looking for. And I think, you know, sometimes I think now that we've kind of, I feel, started to pass through this, you know, less Piscean, more Aquarian or Aquarius, age of Aquarius. Things are a little bit more, there's a darker tinge to things. It's not all light and bliss and nirvana and this and that and that and that. There is, you know, more of an understanding of the horrible depths of everything. Everything has, you know, quite a spectrum to it. But of course, you know, we have to figure out how do we understand that? How do we witness that within ourselves? And then how do we, you know, integrate these understandings, these parts of self, and, you know, form kind of a healthy persona so that we may, you know, live a life in such a way that we are not only supporting our own path, but we are minding the paths of others. We're not impeding the will or the travel of other beings who are in close proximity to us. Okay, so basically, in a simple way, saying, how do we honor each other? How do we respectfully, you know, carry out our own will, our own needs, our own wants, our own spiritual whims, while also honoring, respecting other people who are also on paths. So, something to think about, something to contemplate. I do often. I really do. And so, you know, sometimes it can be a really difficult task. It can. Especially, you know, especially when you don't understand what people are doing, or you have experienced similar things. The thing for me that I find painful, I will share just briefly here, is that I am in recovery, and throughout my adult life, I have known a lot of people who are so tuned in, divinely kind of, I don't like chosen or open and talented and powerful and so intelligent and beautiful and loving, and yet they suffer greatly from addiction issues, substance abuse things, or mental health stuff, and or all of it, you know, and having been somebody who has been in an active addiction, obviously, before, while also on a spiritual path, and now in recovery for many years, it's difficult for me to watch other people go through that, because I just want to kind of shake them awake, you know, stop doing that, you know, this is what you need to do. And you just, all of the reason is blown out of me when I see somebody, you know, suffering. Almost it feels to me, from my privileged place, needlessly, but then also if they succumb to their illness, to their pain, I can't understand it. Sometimes, you know, it's been people who I feel had the capacity to change the world, that were, you know, could have been, and it doesn't matter even if they were, you know, famous or powerful, or had some high station in some, you know, occult group or something. None of that matters, but just the fact that they were who they were, and that beautiful light of consciousness is transitioned into something else, and my you know, my ego is destroyed in some ways, because I grasp onto those lights, and it feels very sad to see somebody going through that. And not just one, I mean, you know, a lot of people. And so, you know, and so we must, you know, mind our neighbors, our kin, our brothers, our sisters, our other, you know, all of our people, and honor them, and honor each other, and honor ourselves. And that is not an easy thing, but gosh, you know, it's truly worthy work, right? Okay, well, anyways, let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, I do have, I saw at the top of this kind of peak here as well, and when we looked at it here, it looked like people kind of falling off and stuff, but I also see too up here, it looks like, and I thought this looked like a heart, but, and it seems like maybe even a piece, maybe something moved, I don't know, maybe I'm looking at it differently, but it looks like a person holding a bow and arrow. So I want to say we have some strong Diana energy. So a forest goddess, a goddess of the hunt, right? A lunar goddess, one of my favorites. And, you know, kind of soft-spoken, intelligent, so intelligent, a little bit cunning in her own way. And, you know, does not abide those dayside rules, not at all. But you keep your eye on this person in your life, because the way that they move, their stealth and enchanting aura of being, this is somebody who will show you a different kind of way to love, for sure. A love from afar, maybe. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so we have a person, and she almost looks like she has a tail. So it looks kind of like a mermaid, but she is pointing at something over here. And then we have kind of 3, it looks like stars. And so I feel that this is kind of that upward path. But it feels also, it feels like I have a lot of this goddess energy going on. I feel like there's a feeling of if you are not educated on your Venus placement and kind of what that means, the house, and you know, your particular alignment with Venus, go and look that up. I'm interested. If you know, let me know in the comments. If you don't know, you can go look it up on like a natal chart, a free natal chart thing. There's all kinds of websites. And then kind of see what the little synopsis is of that. And I'm interested to hear, but I think for some reason that is pretty important. And having the mermaid, which is kind of the traveler of that vast and conscious sea that we all have, I feel like this particular alignment, there will be an important symbol or occurrence aligned with that Venus position. If I can keep my words straight. All right, and I think that's our reading tonight. And I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me, Taurus. It is always such a pleasure and such an honor. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, it helps us get into the algorithm, and the channel is growing because of it. I thank each and every one of you for that. If you have not subscribed, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. Other than that, if you want to leave a comment, I read every single one of them. I love hearing from you all. It is, you know, some of you are so generous with your stories and sharing, and you know, I appreciate that, because I'm getting to know you all, and that is such a blessing to me. I feel very connected to some of you. So anyways, I want to thank you, and we will talk again really soon.